This is Merchandise Mart. Transfer to Brown Line trains at Merchandise Mart. Doors closing.
Cool. So, welcome to the Wisendale Weekly Wrap Up. I'm Hello, Felix here with.
I'm Jack Rogosin.
Nice. So, excited to have you on, Jack.
Super excited to be here, man.
Yeah, man. I think we crossed paths at the One Club this past summer. I don't know if you remember, but tell us a little bit about that One Club.
Yeah, so the One Club Creative Boot Camp comes around to a bunch of different cities every single year. In this case, we were in Chicago. It was hosted by, I believe, Leo Burnett was the agency.
Yeah.
Columbia College, and they hand out a brief to a bunch of people that want to participate. And all the different people that are participating are trying to solve this brief and execute essentially a campaign with random strangers.
And you're like an all-star at that camp, right?
I
mean, let me say it. 3-time all-star, 3-time winner, or how many times have you won that?
Placed first 2 times, placed third 1 time. Did it a couple of times, so yeah, did pretty well.
That's awesome, dude.
Thank you, man.
So then, you know, me going there was pretty interesting, only because I think a lot of people who go there are hunting, you know, for the job and being like, you know, putting their skills on display. So I was kind of in the background of my group. But a lot of people were definitely, you could see, not the desperation, but like the effort that everybody was putting in, because if you win that, you get a potential interview with the employer, right?
Yeah, so the hosting, if you win, theoretically you get an interview with the hosting agency. And, you know, it's Leo Burnett, it's Chicago. A lot of these are students that come from like the Chicago area or around the country, and they're like, I know that name.
Right.
Big name in advertising.
Yeah.
So they're competing because, I mean, that's a shot. And even if you don't win it necessarily, it's a way to put your skills on display.
Yeah.
So that when you reach out to the recruiters, you know, hey, I'm looking for this internship. Hey, I'm looking for this role. I did this. I met you here.
Dope. So, yeah. And Leo Burnett's one of the larger.
Leo Burnett's the largest agency in town.
Okay.
The Leo Burnett Group, definitely.
Yeah,
I think
in town, yeah.
Yeah, but they're a big name in advertising for sure.
Yeah, for
Lots
sure.
of iconic brands.
So, just to stay on that for a second, it was maybe like a group of 8 of us, and then literally like everybody, because I think you came around and you were telling people about the insight and then the human truth. Human truth is the insight and then produces the idea or something like that.
Yeah, I think that so when I was coming around, I think that what I found was like really important whenever you're doing a campaign, but especially in the One Club boot camp setting, is like you really want to showcase the thinking. They're not necessarily looking for these extremely polished, you know, work of arts. Like this is going to be on a billboard somewhere tomorrow.
Sure.
They want to see that groups did a lot of the thinking. So when I went around to the groups, what I always found helpful with the people was kind of having everyone help me take a step back. You know, when you're in that creative mindset, you just like you get into it and there's layers to it and you're like, fuck, like I want to be in this shit.
Right.
But sometimes taking a step back and looking for like the human truth that needs to come through in a campaign is where a lot of groups get hung up, because they're like, oh, we came up with this dope idea. Oh, that's awesome. You want to do that? I think the client was, I forget what it was, some fast food or a quick service restaurant. I think it was the brief.
Right.
And it's like, oh, we came up with this dope idea. This is dope. And I'm like, oh, shit, that is dope. But like, that doesn't have anything to do with what the brief asked you to do. What do you know about the person that you're talking to and stuff like that? Really trying to keep it at that human level.
Uh-huh. And did they ask you to come back because you've won it so much, or how did that work?
So at the time, I think like either like a day or 2 prior, I had just finished I had gotten this offer to be a junior copywriter at Havas. I'd been interning there previously, and I'd done it a couple times.
Now, just in relative scale, how big are they compared to like a Leo Burnett? Like half the size, or like an eighth of the size?
Probably about a fifth of the size. I think Leo Burnett's got like 1,500 to 1,800 people.
Perfect.
Havas is probably about 300.
Perfect. Perfect.
Both are owned by French-owned holding companies. And so they're kind of like the small fry. Havas definitely doesn't have the same caliber of work as Leo Burnett. Okay. Or at least not now. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there was a time when they probably did, and different offices are different.
Yeah.
But yeah, Havas is a kind of like there's a real emphasis on being a non-traditional shop, whereas Leo Burnett, I would say, is probably one of the more traditional shops.
Yeah.
You know, you're doing a lot. You're seeing a lot of their work is done. You know, it's done by ARC, which is their agency that handles most of the below the line work.
Okay.
But it's all kind of part of that Leo Burnett group, working with a lot of kind of American brands.
Yeah. I live over by Chicago and Damon, so I see their their little Havasas.
Yeah, you got the Havasas, the annex right over there.
Annex, yeah. So I see a lot of their galleries. I see a lot of their, window displays and things like that. So they it seems as though they're not too traditional, but they do something like that too. So I guess just backing it up, sorry, all the way back. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself or who you are. And
I'm Jack. I'm a associate copywriter, which is a junior copywriter at most agencies. I have been in Chicago about 5 years now. I moved here from the Bay Area.
Nice.
Can't say enough good things about the Bay Area.
Yeah.
It's better than just, the women, the weed, and the weather. It's great. I went to college for a little bit.
So is E40 like you dude?
Oh, that's my guy, Uncle Earl. Uncle Earl. Love Uncle Earl. Met Uncle Earl a couple times.
Nice.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
So go ahead.
Yeah, so I moved here from the Bay Area and started going to DePaul University. Went there. Financial aid didn't really work out.
Yeah.
And I had the option to either move home or just kind of make it here in Chicago.
Yeah.
Come from an advertising background. My mom was an art director. My grandfather was a copywriter. I said, maybe I can teach myself how to do this. Just kind of started hustling it. And, I was working in a sneaker store and working unpaid internships on the side and just kind of tried to teach myself as much as I could about
I mean, one of the reasons I reached out to you is, like I said, you have that hunger. I mean, I saw it because I was in the background of the one club. I immediately read the group and I was like, damn, like these people are really trying to put their best foot forward. Like I'm doing it as a creative exercise. Like I'm not going to really put all my, I'm not going to put a lot of my voice into it, but I told them, I'm like, you guys, they're giving you what to do. They're giving you the insight, blah, blah, blah. I gave them a few ideas, but I really let them run with it. And, something like that, when you work in a group where 8 people don't know each other, it's really hard because there's like one girl who's like super, like, this is my idea. We're going to do this. And then other people are like, and they don't really want to tell her like at this experience that I had. And so, I had like hard outs like at 6 every day because again, I wasn't really doing it I was doing it as a creative exercise and really trying to figure out what was going on. But then I showed up to the presentation and I helped them, but the presentation, it was just me and the one other girl. So everybody dropped out.
Gotcha.
And everybody was saying, this happens every year. Like people drop out. I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, you at least got to show up. Like you got to own the fact that, this is shit or whatever it may be,
And I think that's like a good point. And I think that's what so great about the creative boot camps is like, it's like it replicates agency life in certain respects to a T.
Yeah.
You're not always going to get the people you want to work with. Right. You're not always going to work with people that share your work ethic or the way that you work.
Correct.
But you're all going to be facing the same shitty fucking deadlines that are totally, disrespectful of your time. You know what I mean? So in that respect, the One Club does a great job of nailing agency life. You're like, oh shit, that's what it feels like.
Right. I did think they dropped the ball on doing it for one of their clients. I thought they could have done it or they could do it. I don't know if they're changing it, but for like a non-for-profit or like an organization that really needs that help. I mean, because you think about it, right? You have 12 or 10 different teams of 8 different students or people looking for jobs. I just feel like there's an opportunity there where you could actually help out organizations that need it. So I don't know.
Totally agree. And I think that like that's definitely like a way in. I know that in the past we worked on one for the Art Institute, which is I believe a Leo Burnett pro bono client.
Okay.
I guess I don't know. I hear what you're saying. I guess on the flip side of that is they want to give something that has like some kind of like recognition when people put that in their portfolio, or maybe they just wanted to cultivate fresh ideas because they wanted to get good ideas that maybe they had avoided them. You know what I mean? Throughout, when you get in the creative process, you're so used to hearing no from clients that sometimes you already find yourself saying no to ideas that might be groundbreaking or the kind of the creative solve. Getting 8 groups of or 10 groups of 8 people on a room for a nonprofit would be pretty fucking dope, though.
Yeah,
you could do some dope shit.
Yeah, you could
solve some real problems.
And then so you're active a lot on like not social media, but I see you on LinkedIn a lot, liking a lot of different things, a range of things. I mean, I know you kind of get inspiration from everywhere, but as far as the advertising industry, is from my understanding, there's like copy, creative. There's media, and then there's like account exec, and then there's like the outside, which is like the sales. Is that correct? Is that kind of how it's broken down?
Yeah, so I think within advertising, you usually have like accounts. So that's going to be your account executive, the suits, the people that sell the work in, that write the briefs, that are kind of the face-to-face, day-to-day with the clients. Then you have strategy, and strategy is going to be a lot of like harvesting data and kind of helping cultivate insights based on the consumers you're talking to. And maybe, and in some cases, they can inform like the placement of where things go. Then you have media, which is usually like a third party in a lot of cases, and they're kind of removed, and they say, well, you want to reach this demographic. This is the best way to do it. This is how much this costs, and this is what our budget is. And then you have creative, and creative will be broken up, generally speaking, into two specific disciplines. You have your copywriters and art directors. And then you have the whole production, which is content creators, photographers. And all
Sure. And are those people freelance though?
It depends.
Okay.
A lot of, different agencies rely on different kinds of freelancers for different things. The agency I work at now, FCB, does the majority of that in-house.
Gotcha.
We have an entire in-house like production agency called Lord & Thomas, which will do the video editing, which has photographers, which is, they gathered some really talented people from
dope.
all these different, distinct areas to kind
And
of
are they only in Chicago, FCB?
FCB is global.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
just in America alone, I know we have FCB West, which is in San Francisco. We have a New York office for sure.
How big is the Chicago office?
Chicago office is, I think it's 800 people. I think we're the second largest agency in town.
Oh, okay.
Behind Leo Burnett.
Damn.
And yeah, man, it's a good time. You should stop by the office sometime. Come to the coffee bar.
I would love
it's
to,
fun,
man. I would love to. I've never seen it, and like, I mean, I'm like an advertising nerd only because I know that everything that we see is an ad. Not to plug fucking Adweek, but
Totally. Totally.
Definitely is an ad, and someone's trying to communicate to you or get a message over to you. So and that's why I like and respect advertising, and that's why I took that boot camp. I see that shop over in the West Loop that we are. Oh shit! What's the name of it? They did. Fuck! I don't know what the hell. We are rising.
We're the Times.
We are the Times. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you knew what I was talking about.
Yeah, the Times.
They're a smaller. So like they're like an extremely small shop, right?
Yeah, so they're tiny. I know somebody that works there, maybe two people that work there. So they were started. My understanding was, actually, I know this is the case. The former chief creative officer at Havas, right before I got there, was ousted. I guess they had like some issues there or whatever. Mm-hmm. He goes off and he started the Times. And I think a good amount of Havas people went with him when he left.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've been operational for probably about a year now.
Yeah,
almost
right?
a year or something.
Yeah, I mean, every time I walk by that, it seems like they're kind of growing in as far as like just shit in the goddamn, space.
Yeah.
But, I was telling you about the rickety kind of action I got going here. And if you could talk a little bit about your, I guess, campaign. I don't know if you can call it a campaign, but the stranded intern.
Yeah.
Because there is quality and there is things that people see through. It doesn't matter the equipment that gets it done, but the idea and the thought process behind it, I think, is pretty strong. So if you could comment on that.
Yeah, sure. So like I was kind of like most people, like struggling to get an internship. I wanted like to break into advertising.
Yeah, right.
And people were looking at my resume and they were like, "Oh, that's great."
Yeah, okay.
Don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You're competing with guys from Northwestern and Chicago and Harvard and assholes from Yale. You know what I mean? You go down the list and there's always going to be someone that's like, at least on paper, more qualified than you. And I was watching all my friends.
Dude, that's so untraditional, bro.
Yeah.
It's so super untraditional, man. So I mean, do you meet other people like that? I mean, I want you to hop back in the story, but do you meet? I don't think you meet too many people like that. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like I meet them more and more at the different agencies I've been to now. I mean, two big ones, a handful of small ones. You're always gonna find people that like on paper they have it all figured out.
Sure.
They went to a state school and then a portfolio school. They went to an amazing Ivy League school and now they're trying to parlay that name into something, in advertising.
Yeah.
I feel like it's fairly common. I do feel like advertising is in a great position to appreciate candidates that don't necessarily follow the same path.
Yeah.
They're already predisposed to liking people that go through those certain hoops. Yeah. Oh, you went to a 4-year college? Great. Did you go to portfolio school? Awesome. Did you win a student award X, the boot camp this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like as much as, advertising is a collective industry, you know what I mean? If I can, paint with a broad brush here, they love to characterize themselves as rebels.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We always have a place for rebels.
Yeah.
And like most of the time that's a crock of shit.
Well, the Havas was the Misfits.
Yeah,
So,
Havas.
yeah.
And I think that actually
Yeah, or
if there's
Havas,
one
yeah.
agency that gets it, Havas gets it in the sense of recruiting talent that desperately needs to be in advertising but hasn't been given the platform.
Sure.
So I think that Havas is doing that better than probably any other agency,
Yeah.
at least in Chicago.
Yeah.
They, the Stranded Intern project was tapping into this human feeling of like, I feel stuck. I'm watching all my friends go on to work at prestigious agencies. I'm watching my other friends that are going into consulting and working in the news and working all these amazing jobs. But because I didn't have the ability financially to check that box of college, I'm not even getting people looking at my application the same way. And I felt stuck.
It's crazy, man.
It's fucked, man.
Fucking
Totally fucked.
so
You know
messed
what I mean?
up. And especially now, the prices of fucking education, like
Price of education is through the
Jesus.
roof. There is Generation Z has such valid and just kind of like a proven disdain for the high cost of education right now. I mean, it's why we're seeing it talked about by politicians. It's why people are, in larger numbers than they have in 50 years choosing the vocational route. Like
Yeah.
the fact that you have to make X amount of dollars to afford this education is completely fucked. And I think that people or companies are trying to figure out how to access that talent, because just because you
it's
didn't
tough.
go to a school
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you don't have something to bring to the table for them.
Yep. Well, yeah, I mean, as you take a sip, by the way, I just want to give a shout out to Derek over here at Harper for sponsoring us.
Shout out to Derek.
Shout out to Derek in the background. A beautiful showroom, by the way.
Absolutely beautiful. I really
they're
want this
Italian. It's actually two words. It's a mashup. Arpentero and por, or something like that. It's furniture and for. Ardemento and per, which is furniture plus for. There you go, Harper.
There we go.
So the stranded intern. So you're in this position where you couldn't find work, right? And
Yeah, I was working at a shoe store up on Howard Street.
Okay. Gotcha.
And just like, I was working for this crazy ass dude that would like chug Black Label and play
Nice.
dice with gang members.
Yeah,
and I'm
right.
just sitting there like, all right, what's up, guys? Like, you know what I mean? You've seen a bunch of crazy shit. People.
What was your discount like on the shoes? Did you?
Depends on the shoes,
you guys
man.
get shoes?
Oh, I got the
This is
hookup on
true.
some of them,
Okay.
but
I used to work at a Journeys or something like that back in Dearborn Heights, the mall. Dude, I remember I bought so many shoes in high school, like just every different color. It had to match the outfit. That was when when you had to color coordinate.
Oh,
the
yeah, you had to
outfits.
get
So
the
we had to
matching
go,
everything,
Yeah, like
yeah.
red, everything's green. So go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, man, I was I feel for you on that. I was like, I used to look in the mirror and I was like, all right, does
Yeah, am
this
I
go with
matching? Right,
this?
exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
you know what I
gotta
mean?
stop what I see with the whole
now
black
it's all
and white. And
now it's all
everything,
about
like,
complimenting. You know what I mean? They
It's
they
true.
don't care about matching. They want it to
compliment. Exactly.
But yeah, man, it was a great job. I literally, man, I couldn't get hired anywhere. I was like working on like a dude. I literally like I was like, yo, trying to be a dishwasher, just trying to earn some money. No. I mean, I must have sent out literally like 100 job applications. Walked into 50 stores
Yeah.
or restaurants and been like,
Yeah,
look,
just trying
I'm
to
just
get it.
trying to work.
Yeah.
Like, and what ended up happening was my buddy Dev was like, come work with me. And I was like, say less, let's go. It's cash. It's under the table. I didn't know anything about Rogers Park. I definitely didn't know anything about Howard Street. Got up there and I was like, oh shit, these motherfuckers are crazy.
Yeah.
I got a lot of love for the family because it was a Korean family that worked there. And it was a family-owned business, and like the wife and the son and the other son, like they're all playing an active role in it, and then the store owner is kind of like the head honcho there. And I was really grateful that they gave me this job, and they're paying me cash every single week under the table. But I don't know, any given day, you got people bringing guns in the store, you got shootouts happening outside, you got police tasing people. I mean, we got pepper spray when I worked there. You were going through all this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck this. Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to get out. So what that, they're open 365, 7 days a week. I mean, I literally just worked there yesterday. I was like, they were like, hey, you want to come back for the holidays? I said, bet.
Yeah.
Went there. I worked
Some
Thanksgiving.
change.
Yeah, cash in my pocket. Put
man.
a couple $100 in my pocket.
Yeah,
Great.
absolutely. Dude.
You know what I mean?
respect.
Yeah, man.
Cheers on that.
It's you know what I mean?
Hell
I'm
yeah.
like,
Hell yeah.
hell no. Like, but we learned there is like And I talked about this a little bit on the We Are Next podcast. Is like Devin and I would sit there and like people would come in there and treat us like shit. I mean, the drug dealers run the store. They run the neighborhood. You know what I mean? Like you're dealing with all sorts of different gang members. You get kings and GDs and BDs and vice lords and all this crazy shit was happening. You're like in Rogers Park. Right here.
Yeah.
Like this is, you literally could throw a rock to the city of Evanston.
Yeah.
And you're like, how come we got a police camera on the block? We got cart chasing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
All that crazy shit.
Yep.
I was just like, I don't want to be here. So I started trying to like fuck with my hours and I was trying to get other jobs while I was working there. And I was lucky enough to get in, unpaid internships and then eventually paid internships while I was working there.
So what are your thoughts on unpaid and paid internships? You like them? Do you not like, obviously you've taken them, but you understand the necessary evil where it's like, if you're hungry enough, you'll take it. Yeah. But at the same time, the employers sometimes are really exploiting that internship.
And I think that so here's the thing that's like fucked about it. It's like I had to work another job to justify taking that unpaid internship. I don't think that there's necessarily like, I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. Yes, they're good if you're getting something, especially if you're creative and you're going to go there and you're going to leave that internship with 1, 2, 3, however many portfolio pieces.
Sure.
But every single unpaid internship that I worked, I did not leave with a portfolio piece.
Gotcha.
Not a single one.
Yeah.
Not a single one of the unpaid internships I left with something that could go in my portfolio.
Because they were giving you production work because of the role?
Because it wasn't. It just
wasn't.
They didn't give it to you. One of them was just like they said I was going to be a copywriter. I went in there and I was like answering phones. That's fine. You learn experience there. Sure. Another one was like they say it's copywriting, but it wasn't the kind of copy I needed to be writing. It was writing PR press releases.
Yeah.
And that's dope. And I learned. But like at each one of those things, I definitely learned valuable skills. Even the jobs I fucking hated. Yeah. I learned valuable things there. So I guess it's tricky. If there's an agency that you're going to take an unpaid internship
it's gray. It's gray. Yeah.
It is. It's
yeah.
like, you got to be clear with them. Be like, look, if you guys aren't paying me, these are the things that I need.
Yeah.
On the flip side, those shitty ones validated my hunger. So it said, he was hungry, so he took this internship. So when it came time to go to plan B and I reached out and I sent them my cover letter and stuff like that, I'm like, this is my work history, yada, yada.
Yeah,
the reason I got that internship was because they had an amazing copywriter working there that wanted to take a chance on me, even though I didn't. I literally wrote them a cover letter like, if you're reading this today, it's because at my current job, a decision to wear green pants led to me being referred to as that Peter Pan looking motherfucker. Neverland or not, I wouldn't mind a change of pace. And that was how I got my first like real internship where I was paid $15 an hour to go and write copy. And shout out to Stefan. You're dope.
Shout out to Stefan.
Yeah. But all those unpaid internships are what validated me on paper so that people took me seriously. Yeah. So every single one of those built on, the one before it.
Yeah.
So I guess like I would say you just have to know what you want.
Sure.
If you're a freshman or a sophomore, an unpaid internship, absolutely. If you're a junior or senior, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
Go and get it. You know what I mean? Like, and if
you're
not
talking
any
roles.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like I get that people want to hire cheap talent.
Sure.
But if they're not prepared to offer you something,
right,
then you need to go and get it yourself.
Yeah, I think it's that hunger. It's that hunger thing too. So were you using those pieces when you came up with the stranded intern?
No, I felt like I had put in my work. I was like, I've worked 4 unpaid internships. I've worked at that. When I did the stranded intern, I had worked 3 or 4 unpaid internships. I had worked a paid one. I had won the boot camp 3 times.
Yeah,
I had this thing in my I'm like, I can really do this shit
on your own.
I might not be the best, like, you know what I mean? Like, I might not be good, but I can do this shit.
Yeah,
you know
look
what
at all
I mean?
the stars
like,
on my back.
I'm like, look, if I can go here 3 years in a row and place, first place, third place.
Was it Leo Burnett all 3 times?
Leo Burnett was a sponsoring agency all 3 times. And
so when you talk to them after you won, or I think you said you were 3rd place one time. What happened with those interviews, or how does that work?
Yeah, I think the first time they were, you go in there and you're like,
is it the whole team that interviews, or the whole team gets the opportunity?
Okay, they kind of were like weird about it. So like originally you're supposed to interview with creative directors.
Yeah.
And I went in. And like I never interviewed at a company like Leo Burnett. I put on a suit. You don't need a fucking suit to interview at Leo Burnett. I haven't worn a suit since then.
You're fucking nervous, man.
I'm like shit. Let me put this on real quick. You know what I mean? I was like looking spiffy. I like took my hat off. I was like,
you know
what I mean?
The hair and everything.
I did the hair. I was like, oh shit. I shaved. I was like,
Yeah.
Frosted Flakes, let me tell you, like, you know what I mean? And yeah, I went in there and they were like, you're 18, bye. And so originally you were supposed to interview with a group creative director or a creative director. And then at the last minute, they were like, oh, they can't meet. So I'd come in there and then they actually, like, literally the day of the interview, I waited 30 minutes and they were like, hey, we actually have to move this. They can't meet with you right now. Okay, cool. I come back like 2 weeks later. And they sat me in with a creative recruiter.
Yeah.
I went through my portfolio, which had 2 pieces in it. And I'm like, look, like, I don't have the portfolio. I know that. I'm 18 years old.
Sure.
I've taken 1 class on advertising to this date. But I want to get prepared because next year I'm going to win this shit again.
Yeah.
And I want to get it then. And they kind of laughed and they were real cool with me. And you know what I mean? Like, you know, for that. And then the next year happened. And like, there was other shit that happened in that interview. But like generally speaking, they were cool or whatever. Next year comes around, win it. They say, okay, we're going to send you. Yeah. Back-to-back years, go in there. And they didn't have like, they were like, oh, it's dope, but, you know, okay, we're going to move you on to the next round. Why don't you come in and talk to this person or whatever? So I come in the next week, and I was literally there for 5 minutes. They whisked me in and out. I'm like, I just won this shit back-to-back. I got these internships. Like, what am I doing wrong
Was
here?
it the same people from the year before?
Same person like oversaw it or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I came back the third year, got 3rd place, and I was like, this is my time. This is 3 years in a row. Consistency is hard. I have these other internships. I did everything they told. We made a list on my first interview.
I mean, again, this is coming from someone who didn't need the job. So like when we had to sign the NDA, I just felt like they didn't really treat anybody like. I don't want to say respectful. Like, I challenged the girl because I signed the NDA, and so I grabbed another one. She's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I just signed the NDA. I want to take it so I know what's in the NDA." Mm-hmm. She's like, "Well, you can't take it." I go, "Yes, I can. Like, I'm gonna take it." Mm-hmm. So it was just strange that like the way that they were talking to people. It's like, "Yo, bitch, you're not gonna talk to me like that. Like, I have a job. I don't need it. So I'm taking all this stuff."
Yeah.
You know. So it was interesting. And again, I feel like it's one of those things with like companies and the interns and, you know, the opportunity. It's a great opportunity. The Art Directors Club, you know, for anybody who doesn't know, great organization. They do a lot of the awards for advertising and creative. So you said you were trying to figure out what to do, and then you won all the awards. So pick it up from there.
Yeah, no, I'd won a couple of these things. I had like a documented work history, and I was like, cool. Like, now's my thing. And not a single agency got back to me. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
And so it's rolling around, and it's like all summer, and I'm watching my other friends have like these successes, and they're getting into these dope agencies, and they're doing stuff, and I'm like, God, like I want to do this. Like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, and I just felt stuck.
Yeah.
So I wanted to tap into that, and I was like, all right, well, I can sit around and feel sorry for myself, or I can try and turn this on its head and get people to look at this situation a little differently. So, and I don't even think it's like necessarily the best idea, but the idea was like, how do I make people like resonate with this idea of feeling stuck? I think people feel stuck throughout their lives, throughout their careers. How does that translate to you? How does that make people care about it and change some of their behavior, you know, to that would, you know, benefit me? Like if I'm treating myself like a brand. So kind of coming up with this like caricature or this brand of what that feeling of not feeling like enough could be. So the Stranded Intern was this idea of like, I'm stuck and I need help. I felt like I was on this island. So I put my resume in a bottle and I mailed it to a bunch of different agencies, but I also created a video of it just rolling through the city of Chicago. My friend helped me. She actually was working at Leo Burnett at the time. It was like on her birthday and she like took the day off or she like had the day off or something like that. And she still helped me like film it. Yeah. She's like, you need to make this look like a story. And I'm like a story? No. We just take some videos. She's like, no. And she really was like patient and thoughtful and really helped it kind of especially from a video perspective, craft the way that the bottle looks rolling through. She helped me with like making sure the visual identity was there with that. Okay. And sent it out to a bunch of agents. Literally spent my last couple dollars, you know, sending it out to all these agencies. And
so you literally put the resume in the bottle. I
literally put my resume in the bottle.
So how did people get the resume out? Did they just pull it out?
There was a little string, and then it kind of like, and on the end of it, it said like to blanket, you know, whatever agency it was. And yeah, man, and then Havas was the first one that got back to me. A bunch of people got it and didn't say shit.
Yeah.
Other people were
bullshit, dude.
Yeah, like,
dude, fucking haters, man.
You know, I feel like, you know, you get it's so competitive. You know what I mean? It's also just like,
yeah, but still, you got to give the young man respect. I mean, you got to give whoever is putting in the effort. Like, yo, I see you, and I'm not going to do anything with it, but I see you. You know what I'm saying? So
totally, yeah. So I think that's true, and I think that like most people were pretty receptive to it. So then immediately, Havas was the first person that got back to me. I was like, I'm selling sneakers in the hood.
Yeah.
Fuck this.
Right.
Boom. Accept the offer, and then a bunch of other offers came through it. But yeah, I think for the idea was, how do you take a situation that's not ideal and turn it on its head?
Yeah.
9 out of 10 times, that's what you're doing in a creative capacity.
Yeah.
In an agency. It's like, okay, well, this is what your consumer is doing. How are we going to change consumer behavior? What kind of actions can we take to disrupt this narrative of the brand, or just disrupt the day-to-day happenings of where our customer is? Yeah. And, from there, it was just like, I think I just needed that shot to really touch client work that other people knew. It's one thing if you're doing stuff for small brands and stuff like that, or you're crafting email copy, or whatever those things are. Yeah. But when you get a chance to work on Mike's Hard Lemonade, to work on Cheap Tickets, to work on Moen, to work on just a bunch of different brands that were recognizable to the everyday person and were recognizable to recruiters, it opens doors for you. Oh yeah. And so I think that was,
So how was it that, it's one thing coming up with the idea. Obviously you had to use like your team, with loose quotes, like to execute the idea. Whether it's the rolling down the bottle, the Instagram, because I think I went on the Instagram page and I think you just had the copy with the bottle on it. Yeah. Like how far do you take it?
Yeah. I think with this was like, okay, well, like what can I do with this janky laptop that doesn't work anymore? Right, you know what I mean? To like really craft this. Yeah. So when you landed on, so the whole idea
I got an error message on my computer too. That's why I had to get up. So
yeah. That's the thing, man. It's like you gotta do with what you got. And so with that, it was like, how do I make this feel like a 360 campaign, like it was executed by an agency, knowing that I have limited access to the money that it takes, you know what I mean? And like, it's hard. There was a dude that made it was fantastic. It was a Sprite video, and he raps, and he like gets hired by Wine and Kennedy. And like there's just so many creative things that people have done over the years of like, but it also takes money to do that. And sometimes I don't think recruiters like fully get when you're broke. Yeah. Not like, not like, oh my God, like, I don't have money
working
to
at
go.
a sneaker shop up on Howard broke.
Yeah. Like, no, you know what I mean? Like, so broke, some days you're walking to work. You know what I mean? That's a 5-mile walk. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you don't have $2.25 to get on the bus, bro. Right. Recruiters don't necessarily see that, nor are you going to like lead in with, hi, my name's Jack, I'm an aspiring copywriter. By the way, I walked here because it cost too much, $2.25. But there were times when I would walk to interviews and I'd have to bring like a change of clothes or whatever, or like a different undershirt because I didn't want to sweat through the other one and trying to make sure it looked straight and all that kind of stuff. And so, when you have limited, it's all about making do with what you do have. And I'm like, okay, cool, man. This is what I do. So what the idea was, you get this message in the bottle. Yeah. You go to the Instagram account, you see how I write. You know what I mean? You see on here, and then when you're on the Instagram, it also leads you to my portfolio. It was a lot of steps in hindsight, but the idea was, this is the tonality. This is capturing what it's like to be, 20 years old or 21 years old, being in a city that, you're just trying to make it.
Yeah. But you got it done though, dude.
Yeah, man. I had a lot of fucking help. You know what I mean? Like I was saying, like that person that was helping me out. You know what I mean? She was so good at like making sure this was like grounded in reality. Yeah. And I think that's like the big takeaway is like, as much as like this was my win, like this was about the people that I surrounded myself with. For sure. This is people that pushed me, you know what I mean? To go out there. It is like, even as someone like myself who's extroverted, it's nervous. I remember just being anxious and like sweating in my apartment and being like, what if they don't like it? And so you know what? A lot of fucking people didn't like it.
Yeah. It's okay.
Still here, man.
Yeah, man. And where do you see, like, from your perspective, where do you see like the agency life or things like that, the recruiting, kids doing really great stuff in Chicago? Like, what do you see the future kind of being like?
I think that more and more what we're seeing is, especially in Chicago, there has to be a way that we adapt the recruiting model. We have recruiters that as individuals are sympathetic to the needs of the people that live in these cities, and they just need the opportunity to recruit these people, but they don't explicitly know how, nor is there necessarily like a plan or like a to-do list or a how-to. So I think that,
so you mean recruiters as in like recruiters specifically for advertising?
Yeah, I think recruiters like, I think it's more than just advertising. You know what I mean? I think that tech faces a lot of the same issues. Like you can, there are jobs that you simply don't need a college degree for, or there are roles that you can recruit for without traditional education lining up to it. There are a shit ton of amazing and this is what Havas tapped into really well. And the dude that's at the Times now, he really got it. And that's that, you know, you don't need to look in the same place for the same talent. You can, you know, pull people in and you can teach people how to put raw creativity through a business pipeline. Sure. But you have to teach them how to do that. And so like in Chicago, we have like one portfolio school, Chicago Portfolio School. It's not even accredited, and it's expensive. It's like $18,000, $17,000 to go there for a year.
And it's only portfolio for advertising or just in general?
Advertising.
Okay. Yeah, because I think a girl that was in my group for the One Club, she said that she was going to portfolio, so she went to portfolio school. But then she didn't even fucking show up. Yeah. It's like, damn, that's crazy.
I mean, man, people are going to do what they're going to do, you know what I mean? And that's kind of like.
So Wyden and Kennedy, you mentioned they won advertising firm of the year. I
they were like agency of the year today, I think.
Yeah,
I think I saw that.
I mean the Colin Kaepernick, you know,
beautiful. God
damn, man, that's so strong, so strong. What other ads or campaigns did you like this year for people who aren't really used to hearing about campaigns? And the tagline for the Colin Kaepernick was stand for something. No matter what it costs. Something like that.
Yes.
Okay.
Fucking amazing line. Yeah. Whoever wrote that is amazing.
Right. Stand for something, even if it means risking everything or something.
Yeah.
So good.
What else?
So any other good ones?
Oh God, I feel like there was a lot of good work.
Hey, are you gonna try to go out to Cannes? Have you been to Cannes?
I've never been to Cannes.
Okay, I went out there again, like just being a fanatic before I turned 30, because they have the tickets that are cheaper for under 30. And so however many years ago, I was like, fuck it, I'm going, dude. I got to go. I want to go. It's like, they're like half the price, right?
Oh, shit.
So, and I only bought it. I was only able to afford like half the week. So I went out there by myself. I had no idea. It was totally out of my realm. But like, I didn't know what was going on. I just knew I liked it. I knew the creativity, and they had some stuff on interiors and furniture out there as well. But I was on the beach. I was at like the YouTube beach, the Facebook beach, and I ended up meeting some people at this under 30 party who actually won, and they invited me to their party after they won the award. It was just a crazy experience, man, going by myself. So I definitely recommend you.
I'm definitely going to have to do that.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Before you're 30. So
I see. Yeah, I'm going to have to try that shit. Clock's ticking.
Clock's ticking for sure. So any other campaigns under 2019? Highlight anything you've been working on?
Nothing that's gonna make it to Cannes. Not yet, at least. What did I like? I thought actually locally here, I thought Leo Burnett did some really cool stuff with the lemonade stand. Okay. I saw that, kids were getting shut down for selling lemonade, so they went and kind of like they did a whole campaign about making it legal, and they passed legislation in a couple of states. I don't know. I just thought it was cool that they tapped into this thing that was happening in real time. Yeah. I thought that was dope. Yeah. What else did I like? I mean, obviously the FCB Global campaign where they did the Whopper Detour. Okay. You know what was my favorite shit was it was David Sao Paulo. They created an algorithm in their phone for Burger King. And if you took a picture of a McDonald's ad, it lit it on fire. And the reason I love it so much is A, it's simple. B, it gets back to this amazing like reason to believe in Burger King, which is the fact that they're the only chain restaurant that's really known for flame broiling their burgers. Nice. And it directly confronts, they found a way to like champion that like what's the word? The challenger brand. Okay. In such a great way. It was just so simple. It's boom. Oh, cool. Yeah. Turns it on fire? Yeah, and it turns it on fire.
Didn't they deliver too to people who were in traffic or something like that? Rush hour traffic?
I feel like I saw that. I think that was a separate instance.
Was it a separate
See, they don't have like an agency of record like McDonald's.
Okay.
So they kind of go out on a project-based basis. So like their work is spread between like FCB, and I think Mullen Lowe has some of it. Dave in Miami certainly has some of it.
And who's been like the older, like the SL Silverstein? Are they like the oldest? Goodby Silverstein. Are they an older agency?
They've been around.
I'm just trying to give everybody the sense of scale as far as like what.
Yeah, Goodby Silverstein and Partners has been around since the 80s, I believe. I used to see like Rich Silverstein walking around in the Bay Area. I pieced it together because my mom was in advertising in San Francisco. Like, that guy right there.
Yeah.
Got milk.
So were you a fan of Benny Gold then?
Fuck yeah.
Okay.
I'm so sad his fucking shop is closed. That was like I was so sad.
But now he's working for
he's working for Goodby now. And I was like,
yeah.
what the fuck? What a small world, man. Like
right.
It was going there in the Mission District and like getting those T-shirts and like this was before he was picked up in any of the stores or anything like that. And like, dude, I can just remember pulling up and being like, oh my god, like, we gotta go. I had this snapback. I was like, I would wear it like this, but because it was a snapback, I thought it was cool like that. Like I would never wear it fitted like this, but because it's a snapback, it can be a little bit odd. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And then is Johnny Cupcakes from?
That's Boston.
Is that Boston? Other side, Boston, totally opposite, totally other side. For some reason, I thought it was in California too. Anything local you've been liking as far as clothing, as brands or anything like that? I
mean, shit, everything that Rello and Joe Freshgoods touch seems to go.
Yeah. Yeah. They have a pretty good network though. From what I follow.
Totally.
That's
yeah.
it. Yeah.
They have. I mean, talk about someone that really like built their brand. I think that next up, there's this tiny little brand from the south suburbs called Chimera Ascension. Shout out Adonis, cool ass dude.
Nice. And how do you find out about this? Just being out?
Dude, I was walking high as shit, like a couple blocks away from here.
Yeah.
And like they were like shooting something. He goes, this dude comes up to me and he goes, would you buy that? And I was like, fuck yeah, I'd buy that. And I'm like, fuck you guys on? Like 19. Right? I'm like, what's up? And I just talked to him, chopped it up for a little bit, and they're like, follow us on Instagram. And I'm like, I hate when people tell me what to do, but okay.
Yeah.
And I followed him, and then we just kind of DM back and forth, and we got coffee or whatever a couple times. These guys are like 19, man. And I think that like their vision, the way they consume fashion.
Say the brand name one more time.
Chimera Ascension.
Chimera Ascension. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to look it up.
And it's so different. You know what I mean? It almost feels retro to me. I'm like, I remember when clothes kind of looked like that. It's got a lot going on. You know, like 5 years ago, we're kind of seeing like a return to like minimalism. You weren't seeing things crowded with, I'll call it content, but I don't know what you would call it, logos, colors, you know, so many different color schemes, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, man, this man just moved product. This kid's like 19, 20. I'm like, that's the dope. Fuck?
Yeah. Yeah,
cool ass dude, man. Yeah. And he gets it. Like I really think that like as you watch the brand evolve, like you're gonna see like not only stylistically like the evolution as like a designer, he's getting better with every drop, but he's getting better as a businessman. Like I look at this kid.
How long ago
like,
was that you saw him?
Shit, I met him like 6 months ago, 5 months ago.
Nice.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Chimera Ascension.
So where else do you go for like when you go out? Where do you kind of hang out as far as in Chicago?
Man, I'm all over the place. I guess, yeah, man, I really am like all over the place. Like there really isn't a neighborhood I don't go to. Like I'm like I go out west. I love the difference in neighborhoods, what's popping. Like me and Dev will go, we used to go like damn near every week. We would go out west, go like Madison and Pulaski. It's a huge intersection in the heart of West Garfield Park. And they have like all these, I mean, it's where all the dope boys hang out. So it's like anyone that's making money over there, selling H, whatever, blah, blah. They're on Madison and Pulaski.
Yeah.
On Jackson, Adams, whatever, all the streets that line up to Madison. But Madison and Pulaski is this big intersection. And you got Tops and Bottoms, which has been there for a minute. You've got the Villa across the street. You've got Diana's and what else is over there? You got all these different shoe stores, Cisco, City Sports, a whole nother one. And the fashion is totally fucking different.
Oh, I'm sure.
Still matching. Yeah. It's urban fashion. It's urban fashion. The clientele that they have over there are, you know, probably over an index for being African American and Latino. Whereas a lot of the stuff you see in the West Loop is going to over index for being people that are white, Asian, whatever. I love seeing the way it's different. I love
So, being a copywriter, where do you get your inspiration? I mean, is it different verbiage? Is it slang, or is it more like the play on words? Or I'm just curious: is your creativity inspiration different than someone who's an artist or drawing? You know?
I don't know, man. I think that's like the hardest part is like I don't have like one place that I go. I just like being around other people. Like I just ride the train, man.
Yeah.
Like for inspiration, like really, I feel like that's the best thing. Like for me, if I get like if I'm like in like a rut or whatever, I just get like a black coffee and I put my headphones on and I go and sit on the brown line and I'll do the whole loop. Like not just like the loop. I mean, I'll go Kimball all the way back to Kimball. And you just watch, and sometimes I'll get off and go on other trains. But I think there's something really cool about the brown line because you get this tiny sliver of the population.
Yeah, you do.
But you go through all these other places.
Yeah.
Same with
even the green line.
Yeah.
I mean, the green line, you could take it all the way from South Side all the way up. You know, that's interesting to see. The train is something that's super interesting. Well, cool, man. I mean, that's pretty much about it. Any last words, or where can people follow you at, or check
follow
you
me
out?
on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn?
Yeah, man. Jack Rogosin, JackRogosin, man. Yeah, man.
Cool, man. Well, cheers one more time, dude.
Absolutely, man.
Thank you, man.
Thanks for having me.
Your safety is important. If you observe unattended packages, vandalism, or suspicious activity, inform CTA personnel immediately.